Hello Sagittarius, welcome to my channel and welcome to your December 2023 Tarotscope. It is a blessing to be here with you, so thank you so much for joining me. In the description box below, you will find links to information on personal readings, information on the Soul Good membership channel on Telegram, and information on donations if you would like to explore any of those options, but of course, no pressure. You will also find a timestamp in the description box below. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so take only what resonates with you and leave the rest. You may also want to explore your sun, moon, and rising tarotscopes for deeper insights to your December. December is a universal 1 month. So as we close out 2023, a new cycle begins. This happens about every 9 years and does invite us to get a head start on what can unfold as we move forward. The number 1 resonates with the energies and attributes of new beginnings, instinct and intuition, creation, inspiration, uniqueness, action, motivation, self-leadership and self-empowerment, positivity, and creating our own realities. And this is what we're going to be looking into for this month, looking at your overall energy, what wants to be created through or for you, and this does not have to be physical, what challenges this might present for you, and getting some advice that will best support and serve you moving forward. So, without further ado, Sagittarius, let's take a look at what's coming through for you. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us please about the overall energy of December 2023 for Sagittarius. Wow, thank you. Tell us please what wants to be created through or for Sagittarius. What wants? Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, what challenges might this present for Sagittarius? Thank you. Tell us, please, the advice to best support and serve Sagittarius moving forward. Wow, okay. Thank you. Anything else we need to know, please, about the overall energy? Okay, thank you. I also feel this one here, okay. Anything else, please, about what, wants to be created? Anything else about the challenges that this may present for Sagittarius, please? All right, thank you. Anything else about the advice that will best support and serve Sagittarius moving forward, please? Okay, thank you. I feel like there's more, so I'm going to keep going. Anything else, please, about the advice that will best support and serve Sagittarius moving forward? Anything else, please? There it is. Thank you. All right. Anything we may have missed or need to know about the overall energy of December 2023 for Sagittarius? All right, thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Anything else we need to know or may have missed, please, about the challenges that this might present for Sagittarius? Anything else you need to know or may, okay, thank you. Yep, thank you. Anything else or any other advice to best support and serve Sagittarius moving forward, please? anything else we need to know or may have? Okay, thank you. All right. Sagittarius, the overall energy of December 2023 for you. We have here first awakening, powerful, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. I feel like this really goes without saying, but I feel like your overall energy, Sag, for this month is really about you moving from one way of being to another. Now, though I feel as though this may overflow, if you will, into your external or physical reality and how you move there, I feel like this shift is more internal, or this new way of being is more internal. I feel as though you may be, how do I say? Yes, thank you. You may be moving from a different mindset. Your perspectives may have changed. The things that you've experienced up until this point, perhaps, I don't know why I'm getting this, but for some of you, pardon me, this may have something to do with what's taken place over the past, what is it, 1 to 3 months. I feel like there's something has happened for some of you where you have really started to shift your perspective. I'm actually getting the words bigger picture. So some of you may be starting to see things from that higher perspective, perhaps playing the observer more, being a little bit less, or let's say, perhaps you are more aware of yourself and are a little less reactive to situations than you once were. There's this almost this feeling of intention, right? Where it just feels like things don't get to you or impact you the same way that they once did. So that may be for, just a small group, but it's an interesting energy, and it's a very powerful, place to be moving from, right? When you have that control over yourself, and even though it's not, how do I say, the power that comes from that isn't solely about the control that one can have over themselves, but it's also about the liberation that comes with that, because it doesn't feel as though you're controlled by what other people are doing or how they're acting or what they're saying, right? So I do feel that this month for you, if you're resonating with this, is really about integrating that shift. I feel like you're applying some kind of wisdom or something. It does feel to me that this upgrade, if you will, or this awakening, may have taken place previously, and now it's about really bringing that through. It's about really implementing or integrating this new way of being. And I'm really getting this energy of like higher levels of awareness. I don't know, maybe some of you have been meditating or something, and it's really allowed you to come into your body, to really be more aware of yourself and what's going on within you. We do have here play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. Yeah, what's interesting to me is I almost get this feeling, which I think is kind of odd, if I'm going to be quite honest. Just for your sign, it doesn't feel like this would be typical. Maybe it's just been like a shadow period or something that you've been going through. Or maybe it's a karmic cycle or some kind of cycle or something. But I get this feeling that for some of you, there may have been this period of time where you were, again, it feels more serious, like maybe more reactive, right? Where like everything, or maybe not everything, but things that people would say or do or whatever would be taken very seriously and personally, right? So, this might look something like somebody like making a joke and you becoming really offended or reacting to that in a way that maybe isn't of high vibe, let's say. So there is this energy of, not taking life so seriously, not taking things so personally, Um, yeah, it feels like some sense of freedom, perhaps, that has been, or how do I say, some sense of freedom that you've stepped into with that. I feel as though there is this energy here of celebrating how far you've come. I feel like there's a need to really kind of grasp or ponder on or think back on how far you've come, to kind of give yourself a pat on the back. Because I feel like for some of you, whatever work you've done, it's not something little, right? Like, I feel like there's been some internal work that has really required you to have courage and inner strength to be very introspective, very reflective, and to really sit with yourself and face your shadow, face your darkness to some degree or another. And so there's this energy of, celebrating yourself. You know, it's almost like there's this understanding of the need to, or the desire rather, perhaps, to heal, to rise, to grow, to evolve, to keep moving forward, to keep making improvements. But there's also this energy of, hey, yes, I get this, I get it, but step back for just a second and realize what has taken place thus far, right? And I think that that's important for anyone on this journey, because oftentimes we don't have tangible, or physical somethings that we can show for what we've done, right? We feel internally that things have changed, but there's nothing that we can show anybody. And a lot of times those things can go unrecognized, especially if you've had to make some, how do I say, create, yes, thank you, create some boundaries, or maybe cut some cords or things like this where your circle isn't what it once was. I know in my own personal journey, my circle went from something quite large to like a Cheerio. So I feel like that recognition isn't always there, and it's important for us to give ourselves a pat on the back, to celebrate ourselves. And so I do feel like this is speaking to that, to kind of bask in your own light, if you will. And of course, there's nothing wrong with having fun. There's nothing wrong with balancing whatever it is you're doing, whether that be in your physical reality, or the internal work that maybe you're doing on yourself. Like, the need for that balance is, I feel, important. We can certainly step back for a moment and have a bit of fun. I also feel, there's kind of this reminder here of being present in your body and allowing yourself to have fun, not thinking about or getting outside of your body, you know thinking about like what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, or 3 days from now, or 6 months from now, or whatever it is. I'm fascinated by the fact that there's a moon in this awakening card and a sun in the other, if you can see that. And I do feel like for some of you, and maybe not everyone would resonate with this. I mean, it's a collective reading, but still, um, of this balance of the natural masculine and feminine, or divine masculine and feminine, having that more in balance. So, for example, that just looking at both sides of the spectrum, okay, that shadow feminine, if you will, or lower feminine energy is one that feels very powerless or weak, is maybe oversensitive or codependent or needy, or withholds things, right? Can be manipulative or sitting in like a victim mentality. That divine or natural feminine is more understanding, more compassionate, more kind, creative, allowing, a little bit. or how do I say, is okay with flowing or surrendering and being maybe emotional or sensitive, right? And is really sat more deeply in that unconditional love. The shadow masculine or lower masculine energies are, aggressive, controlling, avoidant, critical, confrontational, maybe even a bit unstable, and for some can be abusive even. The natural or divine masculine is confident, is courageous. It is decisive and stable, logical, focused, clear, is more assertive, less aggressive, more assertive, more certain, is able to create boundaries, take responsibility, and to tap into that inner strength, right? So they don't fear themselves, right? Or their emotions or anything of that nature. So just to give you an idea of what that might look like. But I do feel that it's interesting that I felt drawn to that. Okay, so for some of you, you may be feeling more balanced in that way. We also have, ooh, interesting. We also have the devil here. Now, for me, the devil is very connected to those lower egoic drives, or, the ego, to put it quite simply. The devil often is related to things or holds these energies of things that are connected to addiction, hedonism, materialism, again, really playing into those lower egoic drives. It can also be energy of restriction or limitation. And the way so it's really quite fascinating to me how this is coming through, because normally with this card, it would be more about being sunk into, if you will, those lower egoic drives, being more materialistic, more hedonistic, perhaps suffering from addiction, or feeling very limited or powerless, or maybe even angry, things like this. But what's fascinating, Sagittarius, is that it's coming through as essentially rising above this. And so there's two different stories I'm getting. One you may resonate with is rising above these things, not feeling so controlled by those lower egoic drives. Okay, which, I mean, again, it's a very kind of fearful, powerless, insecure, ungrounded, untrusting type of energy. Okay, some of you may have been rising above this, right? A new way of being. Or perhaps this is how it's playing out for you for this month specifically. For others, I feel like there's this call, because the devil can also be about the pleasures in life, right? It can be more about challenging authority or this playfulness, right? Pleasure, playfulness. And for some of you, I feel like it's asking you to bring more of this into your experience. Um, you guys, I don't know why I'm getting this. And so I don't know, there may be kind of like a trigger warning here, I suppose. And please, like, I'm just the messenger. All right. So I feel like for some of you, if you struggled with addiction of any kind, you may have put these kind of like restrictions on yourselves. You may have put yourself in a box so that you weren't tempted. And I feel like, and please, 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 please use your discernment. Only take what resonates with you. Please do not make this your story if it isn't. Okay? And do feel free, if you feel you need to seek the advice of a professional. But I feel like for some of you, you could have had yourself in a box because of, maybe some addictive habits that you had. And so you were really kind of limiting or restricting yourself from engaging in certain activities, which completely understandable. But I feel like there's this, it's almost like this, you may now be strong enough in yourself to loosen up those boundaries a little bit. Again, you will know if this is for you. I would never, ever, ever encourage someone who struggles with addiction to, for example, like alcoholism, to go to a bar. Like that's not what I'm saying at all. But you may have been somebody, for staying on this example, where um, you felt as though if there was going to be any alcohol anywhere, like you were just refraining completely from going to any of those events or experiences or, social gatherings, whatever it is. And I feel as though, again, this is not going to resonate with everyone. And I do feel kind of about saying this, because I don't want to encourage anybody to do anything that they do not feel is for them. But you may be in a position now where you can start to kind of, you know be around these things without it really pulling on you, without struggling with it as much. Does that make sense? You guys, I want to be very careful about this. Very, very careful. Because addiction is something that is, very serious, and certainly is no joking matter at all. Um, but it feels like, for example, like perhaps, there's like an artist, a music artist you like, and they would have had a concert or something, and that venue had alcohol. And instead of, in the past, you may have been like, well, I'm not going to that. Like, I really want to, but I'm not going to because that temptation is there. Does that make sense? I don't know why. You guys, this is something like super specific. It's really quite odd for me to get something like this, of this nature, in a collective reading. So I don't know who that's for, but you may be able to kind of, relax a little bit. Um, Again, only take this if it resonates. Okay, please, please, please. But here's the thing: the devil is a representation in the tarot of Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Okay. Saturn is this symbol of responsibility, discipline, structure. Okay. And it almost feels like you may have gotten a better hold on these things now. Again, cannot stress it enough. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but do not make this your story if it isn't. If you're somebody who, is coping with addiction, and you're listening to this and you're like, there's no way in hell. Okay, there's no way, right? So take it as it resonates. But for the most part, I feel like this energy is more about, for some, right, giving yourself the opportunity to experience the pleasure in life, right? Being a bit more playful, a little less, um, what is the word? What is the word? Um, a little less serious. There's a different word that I was looking for, but, letting yourself loosen up a bit. We do have here the Five of Wands as well, which is interesting to me because this is an energy of change. It can be adversity as well, amongst other things. It can be conflict, instability, but it's also movement, fluctuation. I feel like, which is kind of interesting because you have 1, 5, or 15 with the devil, and now you have 5. You may be seeing repeating 5s, and I feel like if that's true for you, it could be indicative of the changes that have been made within you, the fluctuations that have taken place. But I feel like for some of you, there's this energy of like being in training, right? Again, it feels like implementing these new ways of being, like really being intentional and even disciplined to some degree, about how, a new way about integrating these things that you've learned about yourself. The Five of Wands can be an energy as well of like competition or disagreement. Of course, like I was saying, conflict. And what I'm really getting here is like, I really feel, Sag, that it's you against you. That competitive energy that I'm getting, I feel is like you against you. You currently versus another version of yourself. And perhaps, you know, a more egoic version of yourself. It feels like there's this desire to change your reality. And I don't feel like it's, how do I say? There is this element of wanting to change your external reality and what you experience there, but this feels more like wanting to feel differently within, right? Like it's weird, my voice just broke as well. Um, Wanting to feel different within yourself. And maybe this is something that you haven't really talked about with a lot of people, right? To, you know, I don't know, it feels like there could be people around you who would just not really see anything about this at all or know anything about this at all. Like it just feels like this is something that you have a conclusion or a decision or a goal that you have come to, like of your own accord, like within your own being, right? Like I want to experience reality from like differently. And I feel like again, it's like you against you. For some of you, you may have sought, oh, I don't know, this is so wild. For some of you, you may have sought approval outside of yourself at some point. Um, and now it feels like the only approval I need is from myself. And so it's me against me. And there's this level or this sense of determination, right? Because I feel like this growth or this desire or the task, if you will, of creating these changes within yourself, it does come with obstacles. I mean, if you see here, I don't know if you can tell, sorry for the glare, but I feel like, you know, there are these obstacles that are faced with that. And it feels like I'm determined. Like I want to make this happen. And not for the approval of anyone else, but for myself. Again, a powerful place to be in. I feel like you have got your you are like tunnel vision, right? Again, take this only if it resonates, but I feel like you have like tunnel vision where you're like, this is the goal and I'm going for it. Which may be where this like, you know, don't be so serious, like have a bit of fun, play a bit, and that playfulness energy or pleasure energy is coming in. I don't know what this is about, right? But I just feel like there is this desire to be better for yourself. Um, we do have here for you as well Octurian light codes, evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Yeah, absolutely. Because when we're seeking that approval outside of ourselves, um, you know, or we're measuring ourselves, you know, looking outside. For some of you, maybe you were once competing with other people and not from a like, I don't know how to say it. Not from like, I feel like they wouldn't know that. Okay. But you could have, you know, how do I say this? It's almost like this measure, and there's someone that maybe is here and you're like here, and so you're trying to get there. I hope this makes sense. But I feel like this is you taking back your power from that, right? I feel like this is you seeking that approval only from yourself, right? And no longer competing with others or trying to meet some standard or gain approval from outside of yourself or by like material or physical world means. I feel like this is, again, it's more about, no, like I'm taking my power back. It's me against me, and that's it. Yeah. Because I do feel like the goal is to evolve. The goal is to grow. The goal is to not be the same person or to think the same way or to have the same patterns or habits or whatever it is. I feel like it's more about you evolving into something that you feel good about. And I feel like there almost is this future thinking in mind. Um, but how do I say? I don't feel like you live there though. You know what I'm saying? Like in your mind, I feel like there's this element of the work that I'm doing is going to create a better me for the future. I hope this makes sense. I've spent an extravagant amount of time on your overall energy. Yours may be the longest reading this month. We do have here inner earth base chakra, strength and security, laying foundations. Abso-freaking-lutely. Sag, yes. Yes, I feel like the overall energy is, again, getting you out of those lower egoic drives. And that base chakra or root chakra is one of the places where that would be held. Okay, so I feel like this is really about building that strength and security, that safety within yourself, right? And laying that foundation. I feel like this is where the energy is coming from, because that root chakra, it's really about us feeling safe, secure, and grounded in who we are. I'm getting fear coming up as well, so this may certainly be something that you've experienced, right? That feeling of not being safe in yourself, or you're not safe to be yourself. And this can come from a multitude of things, right? Trauma, wounding, programming, you name it. But that root chakra provides the foundation for which we build our life, and it represents safety, security, and stability in who we are to ourselves, right? So when this is blocked or imbalanced, there is a lot of energy that is scattered. It's anxious, fearful, untrusting, ungrounded. And I feel like this is the work that you've been doing. Or this is the work that you may be doing through the month of December, right? Really establishing this strength and security in yourself. It really does feel that way. And again, this is so powerful because those lower chakras are they're a challenge. They really can be. Some of the things that we hold there, that create those imbalances or blockages, those a lot of times those stem from things that we experience in childhood. And a lot of people, or I don't know how, maybe not a lot of people, but um we can carry those with us. We carry those with us, and we build upon them and make those wounds even deeper, if you will, as we grow, as we become adults. um I was actually just speaking with a young man about this recently, and it's something that happened in childhood is something that comes up again and again and again and again. I mean, I think he said he thinks about this particular situation about once a week, and he recognizes how it has impacted him throughout his life because he didn't feel safe in himself. He didn't feel like he was enough in himself because of a situation that unfolded with someone very important to him. And so he spent a majority of his life trying to please that person so that he wouldn't be abandoned, right? And now, as a young man, is coming to recognize that no amount of, pleasing that person creates that security. You have to have it within yourself. So I hope this makes sense, but I definitely feel like this is part of what I've been picking up on. We have here as well stellar gateway activation, infinite potential manifestation vortex. Yeah, so it's really quite fascinating, Sag, because as you build this up within yourself, as you reclaim that power, you start to see your potential as infinite. You start to see that there's much more to you than what you once perceived when you were limited by essentially your own perspectives, your own wounding, your own trauma, right? Where I'm not enough. So, I can't see this infinite potential past that barrier of I'm not enough. Like, I feel like it's, again, it's like higher perspectives, opening things up, new ways of being. And so I do feel like the overall energy for you is meant, if this is not something you've already been doing in months past, I feel like you are in this space currently, or in the month of December, where you are starting to wake up to this, where you are starting to recognize that you have potential that you have yet tapped into. And even if, how do I say this, it's really it's really kind of hard to translate, um, but it's essentially this: I know it's there, even if I don't know what it is, like I feel it. Okay, I hope this makes sense. um, but I feel like the energies this month, again, if you have not experienced this yet, or this is not work that you've already been doing, I feel like this is trying to align you with that infinite potential, right? To really sink you into the power that you hold, the value that you hold. Okay? Which is fascinating, because when we're looking at manifestation here, the universal one energy is about essentially planting seeds that we will eventually harvest later on, right? So you can think of like the magician in the tarot, which is the number one, and having everything you need within you, right? Activating the magic within you by focusing your energy, willpower, desire, and actions to shape or create your world, your reality. And I feel like this is the energy for you. Either this is what you are doing if this reading resonates with you, or this is what December is bringing for you. We have here for you as well, yes, like I said, we have for you Emerald Tablet Activation, Cosmic Ordering, Divine Alchemy, and Conscious Manifestation. I feel like you are intentionally transforming. Again, if this is for you, I feel like you are intentionally transforming. I feel like there is this like conscious manifestation, or this intention to create different results. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to be creating different results in the physical world, though that could also apply. I feel like it's more about creating different results within you, within how you feel, how you think, how, you know what I'm saying? It's playing the alchemist, right? Really transforming self by moving, one way of being to another, which again is really, really powerful, Sag. So let's take a look at what wants to be created through or for you. You have Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? So whether you're male or female, this reading is not gender specific, pardon me. But I find it fascinating that you have this, because there's that energy of infinite potential here, and maybe starting to recognize that you have potential that you have yet tapped into. And I feel like it wants to be brought out of you. Again, I feel like you may not even know exactly what this is, but you just feel like there's something more. There's something there, right? This could very well stem from this like expansive kind of energy that you've taken on, which is very Sagittarian, being ruled by Jupiter. And so I just have to pause for a minute. I know you probably can't see this on camera, but there is this tiny little spider right here, just in front of my finger. Oh yeah, you definitely can't see it. It's definitely off camera. But it's this tiny little spider, and I'm reminded with a spider of the work that is done or put into weaving a web. And they work like solo, right? And essentially it's bringing me to this weaving your tapestry, you know, and the work that you're putting into that, weaving the tapestry that is your life. I'm actually going to pause and I just want to grab this animal spirit deck book real quick and just forgive me taking a second to find the spider and just, I don't know why, you guys, I just do what I feel called to do. So yeah, so it says here about the spider: creator of prosperity through life's work and dharma. The spider is an ingenious creator. Its greatest gift is weaving the thread of dharma into a vast, intricate web that supports the spider and those around it, both financially and spiritually. It is hard work, but the spider neither tires nor becomes impatient. This energy reminds us creativity is everywhere. Be process oriented rather than results oriented, and soon your work becomes like the weaving of a magical, priceless tapestry. Oh my gosh, pardon me. Abundance follows. And it's so I'm just going to read a little bit further because it says, when in balance, appreciative, enthusiastic, prosperous. To when out of balance, discouraged, tired, forlorn, to bring into balance, playful creativity. And I do feel that, again, there's this energy of weaving, right? This energy of creating this opportunity for yourself to step into the potential that you truly hold. I feel like this is what wants to be created through you. I also feel, though, there is this energy of, and it's just kind of like a side note, if you will, but there is this energy of, in order to do that, you may have to um essentially like cut some people out of your life or something in order to remain focused or to remain in alignment with that deepest calling. But again, I feel like for some of you with that infinite potential, pardon me, and this, have you answered your deepest calling, and getting that feeling of like that you there's this knowingness of something more, you may want to take time to meditate on that if that resonates with you. We have here as well the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. Yeah, so if you're somebody who is, just kind of, for lack of better terms, kind of fresh in this game, if you will, or you've just, started this process in the month of December, there is this reassurance for you that this is happening for you, in order for you to tap into that potential, in order for you to answer that deepest calling. And the thing of it is, and I mean, really, you guys, at least in my experience, in order to step into or sink into that deeper purpose, that deeper calling, there's a lot of cracking open that has to be done, right? Because there's a lot of thought processes, belief systems, woundings, trauma, shadow, darkness, whatever you want to call it, that can put us in a position where we just hit the brakes and we just don't answer that call, right? So we have to kind of be freed from those things in order to sink more deeply into our potential. I hope that makes sense. um, and if you're somebody who's been on this path for some time, I feel like this could be confirmation for you, right? That this is your unfolding, and the things that, how do I say, at your core, if you will, the things that are within you are being given the opportunity to emerge, to blossom or bloom. Okay, I know that sounds very feminine, but we have here for you as well the Five of Cups. And the thing about the Five of Cups is that it is this energy of loss, or bereavement, or worry, regret, mourning, disappointment. And I feel like, so I'm getting something quite interesting. One is that for some, that base chakra, right, laying those foundations, some of that wounding may have come from this energy of loss or disappointment, grief. Um, Cups are about your emotions, about your feelings, relationships, these sorts of things. And I feel like if you're feeling these coming to the surface, or regardless, I suppose, of how long you've been on this journey, if you're feeling these things coming to the surface, know that it again, it's cracking you open so that you can move through them, right? So you can make your way out to the other side, as it were, and sink more deeply into your calling. I really feel that the example I was, or what I was sharing earlier about how, in order to sink into our truth, into our potential, we have to kind of, work through these layers of ourselves that would halt us in our tracks. And I feel like this is part of that. Okay. And again, you do have a lot of 5 energies. So if you are, seeing lots of 5s, I would certainly say that, again, that is indicative of the changes that are either going on within you or that perhaps want to be created through you. Yes, yeah, I knew it. We have here karmic board clearing, energetic clearing, rewrite your story, live your truth. Like I was saying, again, I feel like for some of you, this is me against me. Because there's that rewriting of the story. I don't want to be that same person, whatever that looks like. Right? And that unfolding to get deeper to the core of who you really are, your truth, and being in that every single moment. And with the energetic clearing, right, that 5 of Cups energy showing up, which again is that loss, right, and disappointment, grief, mourning, bereavement, regret. I feel like it's like these things want to be created for you, right? It wants you to be cracked open so that you are moving forward without that baggage, moving forward without those restrictions, those limitations that come with carrying this kind of energy. So essentially, I feel like what wants to be created through you is cracking you open, getting to the core of the things that, whatever that looks like for you, that would prevent you from sinking into your infinite potential, into the potential that you have not yet tapped into, and really getting you more deeply connected with that, or in alignment with that. What challenges might this present for you, Sagittarius? Boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? You guys, it always blows my mind how this works, because I was picking up on this energy of cutting cords, right? Of maybe needing to, refrain from certain people or groups. And that may be challenging. It may be challenging, certainly. I feel like for some of you, and I don't know who this is for, or if this is for somebody specific or a small group of people or what it is, but I feel like some of the boundaries, or the challenges that this may present, is establishing these kinds of boundaries with people that you are very close with. And certainly I can understand that myself from my own journey. I've definitely had to create boundaries with people I love very much, but simply just were not serving me. Or rather, let me rephrase that, were not serving my highest good, right? Like being around them was not healthy. So, and this doesn't have to be a situation like that either. Um, Sometimes we have to create boundaries or establish boundaries with energies or people, that situations, environments that we know are unhealthy or toxic or negative or what have you. And there are other times that we have to, or we're asked to, I shouldn't say have to because we don't have to do anything, where we are encouraged to establish some kind of boundary, even with people we love very deeply, even with people who haven't like done anything wrong, right? They haven't caused us any kind of pain. Um, they haven't wronged us or betrayed us or anything like that. But it's simply because the energy that they're holding is not in alignment with you, or that God needs you to be isolated, or God needs you to be pulled away from that energy in order to accomplish something else. So um maybe you call it source, universe, creator, right? It doesn't really matter. Just insert whatever word resonates with you. I call it God, so again, feel free to just insert whatever term works. But sometimes, and you have this cosmic ordering energy here, so sometimes what'll happen is God has this thing, this plan, this something for you. And the means by which God has is how do I say? In order to accomplish that, whatever that looks like, it's like God's like, I know you want to be over here with all these people, but in order to align you with what is meant for you, in order to align you with something better for you, right now, I need you over here. Right? And it doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean that these, people are bad or whatever. It's just that God's like, I get it, but I need you over here. Okay? And for some of you, it very well may be like isolation. Because here's the thing, Sag, like when we're isolated, it is when we are most able to get to know ourselves. It's when we're most able to hear God. It is when we are most able to get in touch with our deeper knowing, our inner truth. And there's a lot of work that does tend to be done when we are in a period of isolation. We do have the Six of Swords here for you. So I think that some challenges that this may present for some, and this is, I feel like, a mind thing, I'm going to be honest, is resisting the transition, creating the boundaries with those individuals, again, because especially if it's something that you don't feel anyone's done anything wrong, right? Okay, just again, take this as it resonates, but that energy is coming through. For some, the challenges here may be that it's difficult to acknowledge some of the unresolved trauma or some emotional baggage that may be held within, which is, it makes sense based on this cracked open Five of Cups karmic board clearing energy. Here's the thing, just to be straightforward, throughout this healing journey, this spiritual journey, this journey of evolution, there are wounds and traumas and things that we come across that are easier to heal than others. It really is just that simple. And then there are some things, the things that we've tucked way, way down in our secret box or we've swept all the way to the back of the room or hidden in the back of the closet that we would rather not ever bring out again. I just looked up as well, and we're at 5505, so there's that energy again. But I feel like, some of those things we don't ever want to touch again. And for whatever reason, I feel like it could be these things that are hardest. Okay, or most challenging. Yeah, I'm getting fear as well. So, those may be the things that present the challenge. In addition to that, again, there is this energy of like resisting transition, which is a little bit contradictory to what I was picking up on earlier. But I feel like it could be due to the fact that some of those boundaries that maybe need to be created are with those that, like I was saying, are incredibly important and maybe haven't wronged you in any way, or that that you're aware of, or whatever. And so, I feel like there could be some resistance there. Take it as it resonates, of course. Ooh, the World. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Sag. I really do feel like some of the challenge comes from creating boundaries, moving on, or moving away from perhaps people or situations or something that have a lot of meaning to you, in order to get closer to what will bring you that fulfillment, that inner and outer peace, what will allow you to achieve your goals. I feel like some of you could also struggle with the challenge, or pardon me, could also find it a challenge to acknowledge that there's a whole world out there for you, right? There's a whole other side of reality that you have yet to tap into, right? That infinite potential, like I'm seeing it as like the world in your hands type of thing. I feel like some of you may struggle with that, which is kind of an interesting way for this energy to come through, right? Or the, like I said, it's coming through pretty strong with, establishing boundaries and allowing yourself to move into an energy that is going to bring you this sense of fulfillment and completion. For some of you, there's like a closing of a cycle, full all the way around. This is probably for somebody very specific, or a couple people very specific, and you'll know. But I feel like for some of you, the challenge is putting up the boundaries, not resisting transition, and closing this cycle, bringing it full circle. Like it's just done, over, finito. All right. Again, like fully integrating a new way of being, I feel like could require you to just step away. We have here, interesting, sacred inner space, sacral chakra, tenderness, sensuality. And I was getting this energy, about those lower egoic drives, which would be connected with the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus, the sacral. So, I mean, it does, as it says here, this does have something to do with like tenderness and sensuality. But another aspect of this is it's also a creative energy. Okay. And if it's imbalanced, then we can have this lack of or repressed creativity. We can also have this level of like withholding intimacy or emotional isolation. And when we open that, that's when we experience more inspiration, right? We ourselves are more open, more vulnerable, again, not afraid of intimacy, and we're more passionate. not just in a sensual way, but also in a creative way. And again, there's been a lot here about potential and like something like wanting to get you into a space where you can tap into that. So I feel as though, again, part of the challenges here are um, getting yourself into, allowing yourself to get into that space, right? Where you are tapping more deeply into those creative energies, where you allow yourself to be inspired by God or in spirit with God. Does that make sense? I also feel like there's something here about treasuring or valuing your your own creativity, your own ideas, your own, the things that inspire you, like the things, how do I say? Yeah, it's like, oh, this is something that I want to do. And like holding that as a treasure, because it's, I don't know why. I feel like for some of you, you might have this really great inspired idea, whatever that is. And I feel like for some of you, you might be somebody who'd be like, oh, but I can't do that. Right? Instead of seeing it as, this inspired thing that has been brought through you from God, right? Like from the spiritual hierarchies, from the angelic realms, in order, because it's something you're supposed to be doing. Does that make sense? I know I'm kind of going a little left field over here, but that's what it feels like to me. I have a card in another deck where it talks about essentially, have you ever stopped to think that these ideas that you get are coming from spirit? And they're coming from spirit through you because there's a purpose for them. There's something much bigger at play here, right? And that's kind of what I'm picking up here as well. We have here for you Orion activation, supernova, recreation, renewal, and rebirthed by light. Yeah, really. I mean, here's the thing, Sag. I feel like some of you, and maybe not everyone would be like, yep, that's me. But I feel like for some of you, you truly, 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 truly do have this opportunity to step into an entire new way of being. Like, really. And I feel as though part of the challenge is to be that different. Because here's the thing, there are people who fear the good, right? They're always like waiting for the other shoe to drop. That comes from a trauma, a wounding. Yours truly experiences this. This is a wound that I'm currently working through and navigating and healing, facing. Okay. So, it's like you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so there's that fear of stepping fully into something because it's like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if I get there and everything goes to the wind, type of thing, right? And I feel like this is a challenge that could show up for some of you. Okay, because you have, what challenges will this present? And you have the world, which is a card of completion, fulfillment, harmony. It's a card of integration. It's a card of accomplishment, right? So I feel like for some there's a fear of that because it's like, well, then what? And who, what if I don't like it? What if nobody likes me? What if, you know what I'm saying? Like there's that fear of the unknown, of like what comes next? What happens when I step through that doorway? Right? I'm actually going to read from the guidebook for you on this card. I just feel like it could be helpful for someone. So let me find it. Here is the message. All of your fears and setbacks are being stripped from your energy now. It is essential for your old way of being to fall away and for you to go through a process of renewal in order to move forward. The old stories of your life aren't yours to live out or live up to. You are far greater than these limiting experiences. The beings of Orion are surrounding you now, and they see you as one of them. Someone who has been born with the knowledge that they can live with great purpose and make a real difference in the world. Whether on a global scale, I have chills, on a global scale or in a particular corner of the planet. When you draw this card, holy biscuits and gravy, you are being reminded that you have infinite star potential. Like I said, I feel like somebody needed to hear that. Like somebody needed that confirmation. But again, this is the challenges that could present for you, right? And sinking into that potential can be a challenge, especially if you've been someone, Sag, who's went through your life and people have constantly told you you won't amount to anything, or you're not good for anything, or you're not worthy, you're not enough, right? So then you it's like almost like I feel like an imposter, right? Sitting here thinking that I have this potential. The advice to best support and serve you moving forward. Oh, yes, you have Lumeria creating heaven on earth. It's happening. It's happening. Here's the thing, Sag. The advice is you have the power, the ability within you to, like I said, experience reality from a very different perspective. To live from a completely different way of being if this is not something that you have already started stepping into. It's there. And the thing about heaven on earth, Sag, is that I believe, I'm a very, very strong believer in the kingdom of heaven is within you. It absolutely is within you. And the more you establish that within yourself, the more the more your external experience and those around you are also going to build upon that, or the more you're going to see that in your external reality, right? So I feel like the advice here is I feel like if you want to experience something different, create that kingdom of heaven within you. It starts there. As within, so without. As above, so below. It starts within you. And, how do I start moving into that? Well, start sinking into your power and realizing that you do have that power to create the kingdom of heaven within you and here on earth. Because once you start getting more in alignment with your truth, yourself, your soul's true essence, you start moving, thinking, speaking, feeling different. And a lot of times, one of the differences that comes is this desire to want to be of service to humanity. Maybe that's through, what was in the book here. What did it say? Someone who has been born with the knowledge that they can live with great purpose and make a difference to the world. Right? We tend to want to be of service in some way, shape, or form. And maybe that's just through by being who you truly are, your most authentic self, every single moment. Maybe that is through something that you create that wants to be created or birthed through you, some potential that wants to come through you, or maybe that's just being kind and compassionate to others, right? So not only are you creating heaven within, but you're also, that tends to flow outward into your reality. So, I mean, the advice here is you can create heaven on earth. And these things are happening to align you with that. But the choice is and always will be yours, right? We have here as well 6 of Wands. Yeah, you can do this. Ooh, I just looked up. We're at an hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. There's that repeating one energy and a universal 1 month. New beginnings, opportunity, potential. With a 6 of Wands that says you can succeed. This can bring you success, right? You can triumph over these things. You can grow in this way. You can create harmony. You can heal. But guess what? You have to be an active participant. You've got to make the adjustments and align with it. Oh, yes. And the Chariot. Yeah, because again, I truly, truly feel that this is that energy of, how do I say? Okay, so I do feel like it's moving forward, right? Yeah, moving forward with confidence. Moving forward with confidence. That is the advice. Exerting your will. Having the control and discipline to, again, be intentional, right? To do the work and any work that is necessary in order to crack you open, in order to free that potential that you have not tapped into yet, right? You have 2 cards as well of success here with the 6 of Wands and the Chariot. So it is absolutely possible. I'm not saying it's going to arrive tomorrow like Amazon, okay? But it's possible. The thing about the Chariot as well, and I feel like this is important, the Chariot also is a card of transformation. It's also a card of change. It's also a card of strength. It is also a card of focus, but it can be a card of battle or conflict as well. I mean, because think about it, the chariots were used throughout history in war, in battle. So the biggest battle that you have, Sag, is yourself, right? And I think you know that to some degree or another. The battle that you have to win is the one with yourself, right? But you can. Absolutely. Again, you have 2 cards of success here and the frickin' World, which is another card of accomplishment. So, it's just a matter of being focused and making things happen. Finally, for you, the advice to best support and serve you moving forward: third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. So it's really quite fascinating because we go from these lower chakras, in the earlier part of your reading, to now the third eye chakra, which is one of the higher chakras. I do feel like this here is about you following that inner vision, your intuition. The third eye, or yeah, So the third eye or forehead portal or chakra of the body is intuition, foresight. It is driven by an openness and imagination. Okay, it's creative, receptive, psychic, even. And if it's imbalanced, there's this lack of clarity, lack of direction, or lack of vision. It can be self-sabotaging and delusional in its blocked state. And I really feel like the advice here for you is to be receptive to those inner knowings, right? To that inner vision. Be receptive to those creative energies. I mean, you do have two chakras here that speak about that creativity or, imagination. They both kind of go hand in hand, right? So I feel like there's this energy here of not limiting your potential, not limiting your imagination or what comes through you creatively, because again, that is when that's when we're in spirit, when we're inspired, and these things come from somewhere, Sag. Whether whether you believe in God or not, okay, but I'm just saying they come from somewhere. Of course, use your discernment. That is important. It's super important. But I feel like if you're one who resonated with, being more aware of yourself, being more in your body, being more intentional, being less reactive, I feel like you probably have a thread on your own energies. You probably have a thread on your intuition, right? So listen to it. What is that inner truth speaking to you? What is that inner wisdom speaking to you? Right? Be open to these things coming in, because I feel like it may have the pieces to the puzzle that could bring you to success, that could drop you into that potential. And, who knows, could transform your reality immensely. So, overall, Sag, I feel like, perhaps this energy could be one that is challenging, that is difficult to navigate, but it is also a month where you have the ability to utilize the opportunity to step into your personal power, right? To take these challenges with faith and trust in yourself, and to not allow the fear to limit you or hold you back, and to be intentional about the seeds that you're planting that we will eventually harvest as we move forward. So hopefully, Sag, there's been something here that has been helpful for you in some way, shape, or form. If there's been something here that has resonated with you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing to the channel. It does tell YouTube that there may be something valuable here for someone else, and I would certainly want those individuals to be able to find that. So I appreciate you so very much for doing any of those things. It also does help me as well as an intuitive, so I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I pray that this month you are able to awaken to the potential you hold within. I pray that you are able to see yourself as worthy of it. I pray that you allow whatever needs to be released or cracked open to do just that, so that you can move more freely in the truth of who you are and can provide to the world something incredible. Have a beautiful month. Take care of your awakening, evolving, growing, powerful, and healing soul. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you in another video.